Hello and welcome to Module 3. You had a very busy Module 2 with watching The Social Dilemma and writing a very detailed APA paper. So let's go do some more. Getting into Module 3, as ever, you have quite a bit of stuff to read and you will take an assessment over those chapters. And I love the fact that we're studying newspapers, magazines, and books this week. I am a huge book consumer. My favorite thing to do if I'm given a free weekend is to go wander through used bookstores and pick up old books, classic magazines, and such. And while I'm in the age group that isn't as dedicated to newspapers as I might be, I do believe that the newspaper industry plays a critical role in society and is really a wonderful source of news for persons who are not necessarily as plugged in as the rest of us. Now, of course, there are digital newspapers and they are growing online in an incredible rate, which you'll learn as you study these particular chapters. But I want you just to consider, what is the impact of having a paper newspaper and who does that keep in the loop and why is that important and helpful? What will happen if everything goes digital? Be worth thinking about. As you go through Module 3 and as you study this content, as ever, you are going to have two different discussion boards that are going to walk you through the thought process behind that information. As you well know, you do have a quiz, so I'm not going to sit on that too long. But your first post, as always, due by Wednesday with your peer commentary due by Sunday, is going to be discussing the impact of newspapers as watchdogs. Are they still watchdogs or are they more just, reporters of whatever the powers that be want us to say? So think about that and see the impact of digital versus hand copy newspapers. As we well know, if we have something inaccurate online, we can fix it in a matter of seconds. But once it's been printed, you can't really take that back. So, what impact does that have on our communication, and how could that hard copy feel change the responsibility for accurate information? As always, make sure that your expectations are calibrated with mine, that you are incorporating your textbook, that you're being thorough, that your peer comments are open to disagreement and civil discourse, that you are comfortable with discussing, not just agreeing with what other people have to say. I love to teach argumentation and debate, so I really do encourage a little bit of feistiness as long as it is appropriate feistiness. The next thing that you want to analyze is going to be the study of banned books. Of course, the expectations are the same, but the content is a little bit different. And I would encourage you to study and think carefully about this pimpology book that is being utilized as fodder for this particular post. And how do you feel the line should be drawn or shouldn't be drawn when it comes to access to information in banned books? I am very interested in your reactions to the list of top 100 banned books and how that might have some impact on what our generations have access to and consume as they go through media. Now, this area of the course is not set up yet, of course, as I've mentioned before, because these videos are done prior to the semester beginning and you are going to meet with your group members. I will put you into teams, and we might have 3 or 4 people, so we might not have 7 teams when it comes down to it. But you all are going to meet via Microsoft Teams this week. I'm going to provide you with access to the link, and you will tell me what day and time works for your group, so that way I can create meeting links for each one of you specifically that sets up effectively for you. And you're going to meet up to start discussing what type of podcast you and your group could figure out. All you have to do for this week is to figure out a good time for you all to record a podcast, but you might end up wanting to meet via Teams more than once so that you can discuss your content before you actually record your content. Just keep in touch with me and I'll be happy to create Microsoft Teams meetings as often as is necessary for you all to feel comfortable with your work. Now, as always, there will be an APA paper that you are going to study to impact or to study the impact of the information you are getting into this particular week. So, what you're going to do this week is to identify a media message that you consider to be unethical, and you're going to analyze why you feel it is unethical. One of the best things about people coming together for learning is us studying different perspectives and why it is that we interpret things differently from each other. So explore that and be willing to study, why do you think a certain message is unethical and why? How does it impact you or your family or those around you? As before, your APA papers should have very consistent formatting. If I have pointed out corrections in a previous paper, please do make those corrections in your future ones. As a teacher, one of the things that irritates me the most, and I'm just going to use that word irritate very honestly, is when I have taken the time to grade someone's paper and spend 30, 40 minutes pointing out what they need to fix, and then the student just blows by that feedback and doesn't fix it. So if I have told you to fix it, fix it. If you're not sure how to fix it, email me and we will fix it together. But go through all that APA, the structure, this rubric should look very familiar at this point because it's very similar to what you did for me last week. Now, as ever, there is that reminder to keep on going with that media change project. In week one, you should have identified what you were doing, when you were going to do it, and how you were going to do it. And the last couple of weeks, you should have been doing it. So make sure that you are tracking that in an effective manner. It is so important when we do research to actually be able to track and evaluate that data effectively. Otherwise, you're going to have nothing to write about next week. You have to make sure that you are tracking and measuring that data as it comes through. Lastly, as always, you have wonderful additional resources to expand your horizons and to possibly serve as sources for the work that you do. Always use these resources. If our wonderful course director, Dr. Sloan, has spent so much of her life building in all these extra learning resources, utilize them. You've got citations and everything, so why not incorporate them in some of your assignments? How creative. Have an absolutely wonderful week, and as always, reach out to me with any questions or concerns. Thank you.